Welcome back to another stream. This one's coming off the heels of my last stream, which kind of messed up, and there were also all kinds of issues. So I figured I would just do something simple that I have to do. I have to do some housekeeping with my color scheme that I provide, which kind of looks like this. Looks like the VS Code color scheme, but it's for Neovim. So let me really quickly go to Twitch, get this stupid chat thing. Where's Twitch? Twitch chat. All right, I should be able to see all the messages here. All right, so I was going to stream doing some other stuff tonight, but anyway, I had some technical issues. So what we're going to do is work on this. So let's do Bob, because that's what I'm using. I'm going to do update nightly. Okay, and this is going to pull in the latest version of Neovim. That should break all of my color schemes. So if I open up, let's take a look at this particular file. It's index.ts. Let's not use this one. Let's use I'm actually going to be getting rid of this file. So give me a second here. Let me update this. Be normal. All right, and what we'll do is we'll go to maybe one of the hooks, because that should have a lot of the semantic highlights and things. Now I'm going to open up another terminal here, and let me update all my plugins as well. Figured I have to get through this eventually, so I might as well do it now. Deal with all the issues before they become compounded later on. All right. Feels like a sin to use the VS Code color scheme in Neovim, but it's just too good. Yeah, I agree. I think it just looks nice. It just fits so well. And I get to troll people on Twitter, and whenever there's a new Neovim feature or a cool thing I can do in Neovim, I can say that VS Code has the feature, which I think is pretty funny. Anyway, so let me go to the same code here. So I think I'm in React Nostria. And then we're going to open up the same file. We're just going to see how it looks, because I'm assuming some of the stuff is broken. Like you can see already where we're having trouble. So it looks like some of that stuff updated once the language server kind of got updated, but it looks like for instance, this here, that one's not right. And before the language server was here, we were missing a few. So I think what I'm going to do is first, well, maybe I should have a key that checks this so I don't have to type out inspect every single time. Let's do key maps. Yeah, you can see even here the color scheme's messed up. Do I have one for I? No. Okay, let's use that then. We're gonna say leader I is going to be, okay, leader I is going to be inspect, followed by a carriage return. Okay, we'll close that. And actually, we'll probably have to close this as well, just to get that update. All right, so if I do leader I, there we go. So we're looking for an identifier, it looks like, and the identifier, for some reason I have that linked to just kind of like regular foreground text, which I'm not sure that that's a good idea or a bad idea, but I guess we'll have to find out. Local share, Neovim, lazy, and mine's called darkplus.neovim. And we'll just go to the Lua plus theme itself. Let's see if we can fix some of these things. So identifier. What's linked to identifier? Symbol. That's it. Okay, probably pretty safe to update this to the blue color then. So I think that would be blue 2 in this case. Yes. Let's not do it like this. Let's just open the file directly. Hooks, use zap. There we go. All right, so that looks good. Everything else looks fine. Here's a problem though. This is a function. And so the semantic highlight seems to not care for some reason anymore. Looks like none of them are really. It's a member declaration. Are the other ones also member declarations? That would be a property declaration. Okay. Versus a member? A type mod? What is a type mod? Okay, type mod. A property and then a member. See, member, I don't know what about member makes this a function. Used to feel the same way about using Sublime Text in VS Code. That's funny. I forget Sublime. Sublime's was called Oceanic, I think, was the name of the color scheme. I only know this because I've made a few color schemes. All right, so I guess we want this type mod situation, but it's in TypeScript, which is like, it kind of sucks that I have to target TypeScript so closely. It looks like we could probably get away with just doing this, like a member, right? Because this one is a type property. This one is a type member, where the middle thing is a mod declaration, and the middle there is a mod declaration as well. But that's fine. Let's head over here to TypeScript. Okay. Make this a little wider. Now, the best way would be to link it. Oh, here we go. Basically, we want this. I don't know why this stuff's not under TypeScript, actually. Type mod, global Lua. This is variable declaration. Oh, that's a Lua. That's why. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing we want to do. Okay. And then let's do, move this chat over there. Okay, and we're going to link this to probably function. Now, when the language server kicks in, there we go. Now it knows that that's a function, I guess. So return zap the function, which is that. Yeah. That seems about right. Okay, so now are they getting the other things right? This set status looks like it's correct. And what is that type? Function TypeScript. Okay, so it's smart enough to know that's just a function. But, I feel like, no, actually that's fine. Let's see if we're missing anything else. I wonder if there's any better ways to target other keys. Like for instance, in other components, or even just this type here. That's just a keyword. Okay, that's an import keyword. Import keyword. Okay. I mean, everything else looks fine, as far as I can tell. What about the conditionals? Yeah, that's still just a conditional. Just get VS Code, bro. 10,000 extensions and rock on, dude. Nah, I don't think so. I'm too fast doing stuff in here. I've tried to use it before, and I tried to use like VS Codium and stuff like that. I'm just so slow at writing code. I can't do anything I want to do. So keeping this updated every now and then when the Neovim folks just kind of break things, it's still faster for me at this point. Like still way faster. All right, this one I think is good. Exactly. Yeah, we are. That's a good point. So even when this is a member, though, I mean, maybe a member still should be this color. Because it's not necessarily like a member function. And I also want to know what makes this thing different. This is a property. I don't know why, like when I say this, like when I am referencing one of like status or something like this, it gets referenced as a property from here. This here would be a member, which is a little confusing. I don't know. We have to see how it behaves in other instances, I guess. Off topic, Mason plugin can't install Java test because of a parsing error of the URL. I would say just go put an issue in on the Mason repo, right? Let's go take a look at this code here. Everything looked good here. I think for the most part it does look fine. Now, what would this be considered? Okay, so that's a function. See, the problem is getting this thing to recognize like const arrow functions as functions. I think if I rewrote this as a function, like if I said function zap equals use callback. Well, actually, I'm not even sure you can do that. I wouldn't even actually know how to do that, to be quite honest. I think I would have to like call it within it or something. So I don't even want to think about that. I'm only joking, just saying that because I'm jealous that I don't have the patience to learn Vim. Yeah, I mean, it was hard, but I'm glad I did. If I could go back, I still would learn Vim. I would do a couple things differently. I definitely made some of my journey learning Vim, I definitely made too painful. But now I'm at kind of like a place where I can't imagine ever really using a mouse, and I can't imagine not being able to like use some of like the nice utilities that I have here. and have it all be keyboard driven. So, I mean, I get it. So, I mean, look, that's the only thing I found so far that's like a real error. Maybe we need to go take a look at Lua and take a look at that, because I know there were some issues there. That member, I'm not really sure about the member. I think maybe the members, I think we probably want to have that link to identifier. I think that's probably the better thing to do for the most part. Now here, these look good still. Give it a second to load everything up. Once the language server kicks in, it might change. Well, it very likely will change how some of the colors look, since your colors are dependent on kind of 3 different levels of highlighting, which would be regex, then tree setter, then what supersedes all of that is whatever the language server thinks. So for instance, this is a type mod function default library.lua. I think that should just remain a function. Tree setter. Come on. No. There we go. M would be considered that with the semantic tokens, and with tree sitter it would be considered as a constant. Which is a little annoying that those are off. Not much we can really do about it. But that one, that was already kind of an issue. How did you make learning Vim harder on yourself? Well, when I first learned, I wish someone would have taught me to use Vim. Like someone who knew what they were doing. Like a lot of the Vim videos that I found on VS Code on YouTube were very confusing. And like you would look at them and you're just like, what is even happening on the screen? And they would just move so fast around, and like I feel like the most part they were just trying to show off. And then so I would watch those videos, and then it just was so fucking complicated, and it felt like anyway. And then for years I just didn't really know the best ways to handle things. Like right now, if I want to move between this file, like I'll page down like this, and then I'll page up. If I would have incorporated paging down and paging up into my workflow faster, or like sooner, it would have made my life a lot easier. Like the first few years when I was using Vim, the way I would get around is like speed up my cursor as fast as I could, and then I would just press J and K and get around a file like this. Like get from top to bottom just holding it. But it would be way faster than this because my key repeat would be higher. This is something I pretty much never do now because I can page up and page down. So maybe I don't necessarily mean that I made it harder on myself. But also I didn't want to use anything else when I first got in, because I was just like, I don't want to be moving between all these different editors. I want one editor to rule them all. I want to use just one editor. I don't want to like use VS Code for editing these files, and then I have to learn all the Vim key bindings inside of VS Code for this. And I don't want to be using then Neovim for some things, and then Vim for some things, or like, JetBrains for some things, or whatever. I just wanted to use one editor where I knew all the bindings, where I could, everything was familiar. And looking back, Neovim and Vim just really weren't mature enough about 4 years ago for me to really do that. And I probably should have, instead of like trying to turn them into an IDE, I probably should have just used something else for those times. Now I feel like it's capable enough to do pretty much everything I want to do, and more. Now I feel like inside of Neovim, I can't live without certain things, and it's better. Just like it's just better for navigating code. But for a while, it wasn't the best solution, and I would pretty much always choose it anyway. So I don't know. I think that's what made it harder on myself. Anyway, it looks like all of this stuff is fine. Once I updated identifier, like that seemed to like actually update like most of the problems that I was having. You learned Neovim just at the right time. Before LSP, Vim was harder to use. Well, I didn't learn it right at the right time. I learned Vim. So I used Vim throughout college. And I used Emacs too in college. Which was fine because in college I wasn't dealing with massive code bases and I wasn't even thinking like that. And plus, like, the level of code that I was writing was all like extremely low level and I needed to learn anyway. So I didn't really know that like any of that stuff was a thing at the time, like language servers or anything like that. And they weren't really a thing that much at the time anyway. They were like, they didn't really exist. So I used Vim for a while then. But then at my first job, when I had to deal with like a big code base, it's just like Vim could not really handle it, and neither could Emacs. Like they really just could not handle the kinds of projects that I was working on, which were like large C++ projects and like large Java projects. Like it just didn't, and maybe it was just the two worst languages at the time, but to really try and do stuff with. But yeah, it was not a great mix. Now it's fine, but yeah, it was difficult. I remember I used to use do I have my Vim config still? I wonder. This is a private browser. I was using this to sign in as another user to the website. Let's see. Do I like have my old config anywhere? Let's see if we can open up another instance of Firefox. Whoops. Another instance of Firefox here. What? Yeah, leave me alone. If you look really far back in the LunarVim code base, you'll find my Neovim config as the first commits. Vim. LVim, color schemes, Neovim, dashboard. See Luke, Emmet Vim, Florida Vim. I guess not. I guess I don't have this in here anymore. I don't have a Vim config. I thought I did. Maybe like dot files? I don't know. Could have swore I used to have this here. If I have Emacs in here though, yeah, I do. I do have my Emacs config. How many years ago was this? 6 years ago. This is my college Emacs config. Oh wow, that's funny. My Emacs. I was using all kinds of nonsense. I have no clue. And then when I was using Vim, I was using like You Complete Me and a bunch of other nonsense. I tried MVChat, but I didn't know what I was doing. I'm way too slow. They told me to stop pissing about at work. Pretty much my Neovim dreams were crushed. Went back to JetBrains. What languages do you use? But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, people will kind of dog you for it. If you're not way better than, like, you know, if you're not getting your work done, then clearly it's not helping you, right? So, like, my thing would be, like I would say I'm pretty, I can now output a pretty undeniably large amount of code now because of Neovim. And because I have like no fatigue when typing and working across projects and all these kinds of things. So like I can output insane amounts of code compared to what I used to be able to do. And I really do like owe that to Neovim. There is no way that someone generally in VS Code And of course, there's like, people who are a complete exception. There are people who are like really, really good at VS Code and all this kind of thing, and they're just really good developers. But in general, I think you're able to just output way more code in Neovim than you can in something like VS Code, for the most part. That's what I think. Or at least it's helped me do it. And I don't think I'd be able to do it if I was like, I had my hand on a mouse all the time. Like, eventually that just gives you like a claw, I feel like. I don't know. JavaScript and TypeScript mainly? I mean, that's extremely achievable, I think. And Python? Yeah. I mean, those are extremely achievable languages in Neovim. I mean, that's what I'm working on over here, right? Pretty much do anything I want to do. I don't have any problems, right? I'm literally developing an entire React library right now, right? Like, lots of code here, right? I have no problems with it. And I'm developing like multiple different sites, right? So like this bounty site that I'm working on, I can't work on it right now because as far as I know, the payment provider is still down. But like, if we go to localhost here, right? Like, I'm able to develop, I think, a fine, like, I don't know, I think even if I was dealing with an even bigger code base, I think I'd be okay. Like, I don't think I'd have any problems or whatever. I don't really know what JetBrains would really give me here for the most part. My main problem with Neovim is debugging. Can't config dap correctly. I have never really needed a debugger like that. I don't know. Like, I just don't really find myself using a debugger that often. I know there are times when a debugger is useful, and it's, again, this could be a skill issue on my end. Like, it's just not one of like it's not a core competency that I have. But like debugging for me, it just like, I really do just use print for the most part. And again, like, I don't know, like I'm able to make websites. I'm able to I've won hackathons with these websites. I've worked professionally doing stuff like this. I've made lots of stuff that works. I don't know. I have no idea what using like a JetBrains solution would really buy me. I don't even know how debugging would necessarily help me outside of like some complicated tests or something like this. Then maybe it would be useful. But even, it depends what you're trying to debug. Like, if you just want to write, like, debug, like, Vite tests, like, I think you could do that pretty easily in Neovim these days. Maybe I'll spend some time working on debugging, because I do have time tonight, and I feel like I wanted to, like, get some stuff done with my config, just because I had a bit, so maybe I'll get debugging working, I don't know, like, really well. Maybe I'll just learn about it. Because I tried to go here, so my payment provider for my website's down, and then I ran into some other issues. So maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. Maybe if that's interesting. Front end is easy with console, but server side with Python is easy with the debugger. I even think server side. I never really wrote front end until last year. I never did any real front end coding like professionally until like last year. And even that wasn't necessarily professionally. It was just kind of in my spare time. So I've done backend. I did backend Java for like 4 years. And I was able to make that work with Neovim. I was able to, do everything pretty much just fine. Like, I didn't really have any issues besides I would have to run tests. And when I had to run tests, I would just open up JetBrains. And I would just like click like run tests. So I would just use JetBrains as my test runner. And then everything else I would do in Neovim. How come using Neovim is productive while using a window manager is procrastination? I think because, for me at least, you can only pour so much energy into configurations. So, for instance, like if I'm able to keep up with my Neovim config like really, really well now. Like I'm able to keep up with it entirely. You don't even need my level of customizations and things to have a productive Neovim config. You just basically need a couple core plugins, the stuff that I basically have in launch, I think, and even less than that is probably fine. But like for instance, if I'm trying to keep up with like updating things and working with my config, like for Neovim, and then also I'm trying to like keep my window manager and like keep all those settings in my window manager up to date, and then also like rice my bar up here, and then like try to add in other things, and like all that is just, and then I have to think like if I'm thinking about like from a window manager context, there's like tons of programs that just you have to manage like your entire operating system. Like you have to manage all of the different programs and stuff. And if there's ever a weird break or if there's ever a new feature that you want to add, that's all on you. Versus now, I think the default note, like I noticed that for when writing code, my like this part, like the operating system, doesn't really slow me down. Nothing there really matters to me. What slows me down is how fast I'm able to edit and how fast I'm able to move through a code base. Like I don't care what it is, if I can just full screen a code base and just navigate it, then like I don't really give a shit. This could be Windows. I mean, not really Windows, because I just like the file system there would be difficult and all. But like this could be Mac OS. This could be this could be a window manager. This could be this could be like a GNOME, this could be KDE, it doesn't matter. As long as I can full screen or just half screen my code, it just doesn't, like the window manager aspect is not going to make me more productive. I'm going to get an extreme diminishing return spending any time thinking about my desktop environment or window manager. Love this stream, however it's 2 a.m., need to go. Yeah, good night, man. Regolith then. Also, yeah, but there's other things about window managers I don't like. Like, for instance, when I open up an extension like this, there are times where that extension will just be treated like a new window and just pop to the side. And I hate that. Like, and sometimes, honestly, I just miss, like, being able to float my windows around and just, like, I don't know. And I guess you can have floating windows, but then you have to have like a key binding to set the window to floating. And then there's not usually like this little bar thing at the top, so you can't just like easily move it around. You have to like command click and then you can move it around. How's it going, Carve? I had a bad time in my last stream, so. What color changed? It looks like all I had to do was update the identifier. So it's like, I don't know if there's other problems that might pop up, but it looks like basically, for the most part, all I had to do was update the identifier, because apparently the identifier now has more nonsense associated with it. So if we go look up the identifier here, like this seems to drive more important colors in Tree Sitter now. There probably is other things that I'm going to find out as I go, but like this one was a big one that broke for me. So that's one I had to update. Legit thought it was VS Code when I opened it. Yeah. That's why I'm trolling people on Twitter now. Anytime there's like a new feature in Neovim, I'm just going to show like, oh, look, VS Code has this new feature. I want Harpoon for apps. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. But I think like, if I just do this and open my apps, or if I just do this to open my apps, right? And then I can just move between them with Control tilde. Like if I want to open up a particular editor right now, I can go through and be like, which one do I want to open? Do I want to open my project? Do I want to open my project? Actually, that would be useful because right now I just have like, well, like this says like applicant card.tsx, but maybe it'd be more useful if it said like the name of the project and then the name of the file, but then I feel like it would get a little long. Maybe the name of the project would be better. I don't know if the name of the project would be more useful here or the name of the file that I'm editing. But anyway, so for now, you know, if I want to jump to this particular thing, I can just go like this. And then I have it open. So I can just Alt-Tab, wait a second, and then just switch. So if I'm like, I want to go edit the UseApp file, I can just open it up. So I feel like that, I mean, it's not as good as Harpoon because it's not like I'm marking particular things But like, I think it's fine. It doesn't really get in my way. On Pop OS? Yep, we're on Pop OS. I'm going to wait for Cosmic to come out. I'm just going to let the System 76 team handle all of my desktop environment stuff going from here on out. I mean, Command Tab until I use Command Tab. Yeah. I think it's a fine solution. What if you reach the same level of customization for your window manager, say Awesome WM, since it's configured in Lua? Yeah, but I would have to configure more stuff, right? So I would have to like think about Awesome WM, and I would have, whether I like it or not, in my feeble human mind, I would have the context always loaded about my operating system when I'm looking at it. And then because it's okay, for instance, when I go to the website I'm currently working on, right? Like this one right here, right? There's a human element here. When I go to this website and I look at all of the stuff, like the buttons and everything else, I'm like, I coded this. So then I think, what could be better? What could be better about this site when I'm looking at the site? Like, should this say like 3 hours ago with just HRS? You know, or should we get rid of the ago, right? Or maybe these buttons, maybe they could come up with something better for these, right? Like maybe this button should be up here, or maybe whatever. So when I'm looking at this site, I designed it, and so I'm thinking, like, I'm working on it. And then if I had like, and this is just me, I don't know, like maybe it doesn't apply to everybody else, but if I had my window manager that's perfectly riced by me, I would be looking at like, I would be thinking about the keybinds and like, should I change like those? Or I'd be looking a lot at the bar all the time. And I'd be like, do I need a new bar? You know, like, do I need, like, is this enough space between these? Like, for instance, I might, like right now I'm looking at these system tray icons, and I might be tempted to potentially make them a little bit bigger or put them closer together or do something with them, right? But the fact that I never think about that now. Like now that I'm just on this, this is what's given to me. That's it. I don't give a shit. I boot up some text editors and my website and I'm good to go. So I just don't think about it anymore, I guess. I never load I never load context about my desktop environment into my brain anymore, which I really like. I don't know. It could just be me. I'm hyped for Cosmic. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Cosmic too. Actually, I'm gonna update things. I'm gonna see if they have new updates for some of the stuff like Cosmic Terminal and Cosmic Edit, because I do have some of those programs installed. Chris, by the way, it took me 1 second. Let me go back. I don't think it would make me more productive. I think it would make me less productive. I think. I use Command Tab, or at least it did before. I'm on Hype, right, exactly. I'm also used to have some apps full screen and just change screens, Control Plus. Yeah, I don't know how I really feel about different workspaces for the most part either. Like, I almost just kind of want to use the same thing and then just use Alt Tab. Because I just feel like it mostly... Another thing is it's kind of just available to me on all... No matter what I use, this is always an available strategy pretty much. Like, for instance, Alt Tab and Alt Tilde are going to be available. I can almost tell you with certainty that Alt Tab and Alt Tilde are going to be available on Pop OS. By the way, took me a while to understand a conjunction of parallel routes, intercepting routes, and group routes. Those three features together to create a damn modal Instagram. Gotcha. Are you talking about in Next.js? Anyway, so maybe we'll do, maybe I'll look into some debugging stuff or something. I don't know. I never really use it, but 1 second. They can be upgraded. Let's do sudo apt list upgradable. Take a look through here. Yeah, it looks like Cosmic stuff has been updated. Cosmic screenshot. Cosmic files. There's a lot of Cosmic stuff, so maybe we'll do that. So let's do sudo apt upgrade. And maybe we'll see what kind of cosmic updates are available. I was playing around with some things. I do like some things with the new cosmic tools, but not everything. Want to do a login modal, but then you reload the thing has to be because modals don't have a history to go back. Right. I used to do modals for login, but I don't use modals for login anymore. Now I use next auth, and I have a page. Right, and well, right now it just automatically logged me back in because I have a cookie, but which at least I think it just did. No, it didn't. Okay, never mind. But yeah, you have like this callback URL you can use, which will take you back, and then here, like this, yeah, this is the sign-in page. So then I can just click on this, and I can link people to that sign-in page and have them sign in. So it just makes things easier, I think. Cosmic is the new desktop environment that System 76 is working on. So hopefully it's going to be like a serious competitor to GNOME, which is what I'm hoping. But I guess we'll have to see. Anyway. I think I do have testing working in Neovim. But I know there are some issues testing certain... let's get rid of this browser for now. We don't need it. But I know there is certain... it's still a little bit weird to do testing. I am looking forward to Bun Test, but I don't know if they have anything for that. For testing, I typically use like NeoTest. Next modal. Oh, I've never heard of next modal. Yeah, so there's Vite test. This one has a few problems. It was updated last week though, so that's good. Supports the Vite config file. That might actually fix the problem I was having with it, to be honest. I wonder. I was learning TypeScript from this repo. I couldn't buy the course because it's like $500. But there's one. What is it called? It's by the Matt Duck or something. I forget his name. I forget. Total TypeScript. That's what it's called. And they have. I know they have some TypeScript tests in there. I could probably test things out on. And we might be able to look at some more color scheme stuff, so it might be worth it. Yeah, I don't want the website where you're going to try to charge me $600. But the GitHub repos were kind of useful. Yeah, this one has tests. Code. What's he using? Package lock. Probably just use npm then, I guess. Will Cosmic have tiling features? Yeah, probably. This one has tiling features. So I can like tile my windows. Looks like I'm getting a little stutter right now though. I might have to close a couple things. Yeah, I think we got too much going on here. Oh, also I'm installing stuff. I think that's what's causing that. Let's close this one and this one. We'll leave the color scheme one up. We'll close this one. We'll close where I updated this. And yeah. I think we're just going to have to deal with a little bit of stutter for a second while this compiles. I don't know what it's building. Oh, am I updating Linux itself? I guess I'm updating Linux headers. Setting up Linux image 6.6. Yeah, we're doing a bigger update than I thought. Oh well. Kitty Windows. Yeah. So, okay, let's go in here and let's try out some testing, I guess. I have an iMac from 2015, 40 gigs of RAM. It's unsupported now. Which distro do you recommend to install? Pop OS. Definitely, no question about it. That or just Ubuntu or Debian. Like, that's what I would recommend. If anyone ever asks me for a recommendation in the future, I'm basically always going to recommend like the default thing that like you would see most of the internet recommend you. All right, let's see if we got tests in here. Okay, here's a test. We'll wait for everything to get started and I'm going to try and test it. Linux Mint, that's another good option, but I still think that, I don't know. Whoops. Can actually fix it. All right, now if I try to test this, it says no test found. Interesting. So my thinking for this is that when they updated the code base, let's take a look. My assumption is they didn't support the MTS files. Yeah. So vtest.config.ts. So my assumption is that if I jump to the bottom here and maybe if I change this to just TS and retry this. Why the hell is a programming language course $800? I'll tell you why. Most of these, well, like I don't want to call them grifters. I get it. You know what I mean? I know you want to make your money, and I know you put a lot of work into the course and stuff. But basically, they're not making courses for you. They're making right, pretty much, but they're not like just think about their model here, right? They're not making courses for you. They're making courses for your company. So they want your company to buy the course, right? And then they want your company to buy the course for you and a bunch of other developers. So they're essentially targeting like a group of developers who are all trying to learn, for instance, TypeScript at the same time. And it's just they're targeting a different person to pay them. They're not targeting you individually. But if they targeted you individually, the course might be like, I don't know, say $50, right? And then you'd be like, maybe it's worth it. Maybe not, right? But then if they did that, then they would have to rely on individual developers buying the course, which I guess maybe they understand that they'll make more money selling, an $800 course to a company. That's my assumption. No test found again. Okay, interesting. So what we could do is a couple things. So one thing is, all right, so for instance, let's go into .local share, and then we'll go to Neovim, and then we'll go to lazy. And now we want to go to neotest, vtest. We'll open this up. Okay. And now it's probably looking for something called test. Like is test file. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what are they doing? they're matching blah, blah, blah is test file, X in I pairs, spec and test. Spec and test are coming out of what? Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Extension. Blah blah blah. X dot extension. Right. Right. So you would need to have, for instance, I think if we did something like this, dot test dot ts to make this particular thing work. There we go. See, it pays to go and read source code and like actually be able. It's so much easier for me now to like go through source code and just like immediately understand it. Like I can't imagine not having that ability. I remember when I first was a developer and like reading source code was just, it felt like it was for some reason like off limits. But now I'm just like, okay, we're looking at X between these two things. Then we're looking at the extension between all of these things, right? And then we're saying, okay, if we have a match on the file path, and then that particular file, and then the X, which would be either test or spec, is in the file path, and then the extension, which should be one of these. If that is the case, then it is a test file. So it's kind of nice to know that, but this is not great because then I always need to have something called .test to like actually run the test. But running tests works, which is kind of cool. But now the question is, could we run it in debug mode? So if we wanted to run it in debug mode, we would open up the testing and then we would like debug the test. So the problem that I have now is the selected configuration references adapter PWA node, but that's undefined. So maybe... let me see the chat here, maybe a little bit bigger. It was a purposed course like front-end or web development. I would understand like a boot camp. Is TypeScript really that complicated though? Or is it just people who use JavaScript have no concept of types, so teaching them is harder? Yeah, I think it's kind of hard when you're coming from an untyped language to like even conceptualize what types are. I think types scare people more than you think. For instance, when I was first getting into programming, error handling really scared me. And weirdly enough, logging scared me for some reason. Like logging things confused the shit out of me. I have no idea why. But like, I just remember it was like a blocker in my head. It was something I was like scared of, like two things. I just somehow remember this. I remember thinking like, oh, they want me to like add logging. I don't even know what the hell that means. And so I had to like understand like SLF for J in Java, and then I was just like, oh yeah, logs go to Cloud Trace or whatever the hell it was, and AWS, like all that kind of stuff just like scared me for some reason. And then also just error handling and stuff. So I can imagine like if you were coming from some language that just never even had types, and you just never dealt with it, like types would just confuse the shit out of you. Yeah, I guess there are some. As a junior dev, configuring Neovim really helped me learn how to read and modify source code. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I always jump right to the source code pretty much anymore. Like it's something I almost always do. And if I can't understand the source code, then like I question whether or not I question why I'm using this project. So this has DApp and things we can install through DApp. So maybe like Node. So there's the Node one. Maybe it's worth installing the Node one. I don't know if there's another like VS Code one. There's the VS Code Java decompiler. Mock debug, JS debug adapter. We probably want that one. I think that's the one we want. We'll install the Python one too. Oh, that failed. Oh, I don't have any ways to create virtual environments, I guess. Also, I don't know why people never just put the sudo. Who installs things with just apt and no sudo? Where am I right now? Guess, right. But the hard part of TS is knowing how to keep your code base simple and readable. In my opinion, TS allows you to abstract so much. People abuse it. I will say that when I learned a little bit deeper into TS, because I'm still learning a little bit deeper into TypeScript lately, but one very useful concept that I found was called template types. So if I go to React, Noster, source, types, index, like doing things like this, like requiring that it like start with WSS and then a string. Like I really like that ability. That was like one thing I learned from TypeScript that I really enjoy. Just being able to put the question mark here to say like this type is not necessary, like this thing is not necessarily, you don't need to like initially set anything to undefined. You can just put a question mark there. I really like that. I guess basic like union types, stuff like this. That's kind of useful, I guess. Now I've seen people like put like you can do like, you could say like a type is like, you could do like export type junk is equal to, and then you could do like an array. Well, it could be junk and then it could be string, and then I'm pretty sure it would have to start with, but whatever. We could do like junk and then, you know, something else. And then like A or whatever, right? So you could do that, and then if we look at the type for this, it's that. But then if you, I think if I do something like as const or something like this, there's something I can do with as const. And anyway, I learned how to do that, and that was neat. I forgot how to do it, obviously, but I remember the as const thing was kind of a neat concept. I don't remember exactly why I used it, though. There was something I was able to do, and I was able to get like a nice like enum out of it, but anyway, I can't really remember how to do it. But so far, just being able to just do types like this and just template types, that was already like super helpful for me in just TypeScript land. Kind of random but related, are classes considered bad practice in TS/JS? Like I think what you really mean is object-oriented programming and like structuring your code base as like an object-oriented kind of like code base with classes and stuff, bad practice. I would say it depends, but I would say if you're in like a React context, most of React is like hook driven. So I do everything via hooks. So like I have like this hook, and so like that's just the way I think in React. I just do everything through hooks, and then everything's very like functional. Now the reactive nature and like how like state updates and re-renders and all that kind of stuff, that shit can get really confusing, especially when you don't know what piece of state is updating something and you don't believe that it should be updating something. Like that's when things can get really hairy and confusing. But in general, I don't write classes when working with TypeScript and JavaScript in my React code bases. Like I never write a class. So I don't know. I just don't. I don't see many people really do it that much anymore. Yeah, it might not be a bad idea. What languages you use for coding in Neovim? Lots. Yes, but you use nice.ts. Kind of random but related. Are classes yeah, right. I know classes are good if used properly, like types, right? Partial. Yeah. See, I don't know how much I like pick. And what is it? Pick and omit. Pick and omit, I think is what it is. So for instance, let me see if I can do it again. I don't know. I rarely use generics too. Like I know how generics work, but I rarely find myself in like at the level I'm working at. I rarely find myself in the need. Maybe I just don't use generics enough in TypeScript land, but like I remember using them a good amount in Java, but even then in Java, That was mostly just for like library code where generics were useful. And even then, sometimes they just kind of got in the, like, they added too many layers of complexity. I think generics are really useful for things where you have like an array that, for instance, can be like a number or a string. And so then you can just pass that at runtime and just kind of choose which one, right? But like, I don't know, just for the stuff I'm working on lately, I haven't really found any good use cases for generics. And then things like pick and omit, I just, like for instance, I probably, for these here, I probably could like write like a super type that just has relays, because lots of things need relays. And then like I could extend off of that, right? And then maybe I could create something, and then maybe one of my other hooks, I could just omit some stuff, and then maybe that would be, or I could just pick some stuff, and that would build the type out just fine. But like I'll find myself just repeating myself instead. Like I'll just repeat myself. I'll just say that this is this, right? Instead of saying like this and then like picking specific types from another type. I don't know. This is where like the grug brain dev kind of, for me, just kind of takes over, and I just don't want to. I don't know. That's just me, maybe. Do you use hooks for API calls? Almost exclusively. I feel like that's almost always the reason I'm using like a use effect hook, is almost always because I need to make an API call. Like at the end of the day, like if I'm doing like, for instance, this is called use profile, and what it does is it fetches a profile, but what does it actually do? Here's the API call. It does all this shit, provides you some state to let you know like if it's loading while you're still trying to fetch the thing. But at the end of the day, what does this hook do? Is a nice wrapper around this API call, which just goes and gets a profile event. Same thing with like publish. You know, this is all great, all this junk, like you can look at it and blah, 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 blah. But what does it do? At the end of the day, it does this. It publishes an event. Now, it's nice to know the status of the event, and that's basically all this does. Like, when you first invoke it, it gives you a piece of state called status that will let you know if it's pending. So what I can do is, I can put a little thing, like I can put a little Boolean on the button, and I can say, if this is in pending state, then the button can't be clicked. And so this is nice to abstract into a hook, because I might want to call this multiple different times, and I don't want to like think about setting the state every single time. So I'll just bundle the state of like what like I'll bundle the state of the kind of like the life cycle that the API calls in. Like I'll just bundle that with the API call. And now when you make this and you call publish as a hook, right? From the hook, then you'll have this state, and then you can just be like, oh yeah, it's in status pending, so you can't click the button again, so the user can't like press publish like 30 times, right? And so I just find that useful. Same with like you subscribe. Again, it looks all super freaking complicated, but at the end of the day, and this one is a little more complicated, but still at the end of the day, it's just this. This is the API call that lives inside of this hook. So, I mean, I don't know. That's what I use hooks for. Is inheritance. Yeah, inheritance. Inheritance might have been a mistake. I don't know. I try to steer clear for the most part. Do you ever try C++ on Neovim? When I used to work at Lockheed, I used to write a little bit of C++, and I used Vim at the time, I think. But I haven't really, like, I just don't write a lot of C++. I kind of hate C++. Omit is useful if you want to copy another type and omit certain parts of that type. Yeah, but you could just, like, rewrite the whole type. I know, like, I know, but you can. And that's the grug-brained way of doing it, is to just repeat yourself. I don't know. I know what omit does. I don't know if I remember the syntax like off the top of my head, right? But like I know what it does. If I go to, for instance, my types, I can fully explain to you what omit does. I could make another type basically from this type, and then I could say omit this, 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 and this, right? For instance. And then it would have this exact type essentially, but just with those 3 types not there anymore. Yeah, you could, or you could just rewrite the whole type and then just delete those 3 lines. Same with pick is just the opposite. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not... Shows me the fields of that type instead of pointing to another type. Yeah. A custom hook is the React way and functional way to write a class. In some sense, yeah. Yeah, I would just, if you're in React Town, which you probably are if you're doing this kind of stuff, then I fully recommend just leaning into hooks. And the way you handle state is use a global state manager like Zustand. And that will probably get you everywhere you need to be. If you're not, and if you even want to go simpler than that, I really recommend, and if you're just using HTTP APIs, then I fully recommend you go and use React Query. But even then, it depends. If you're in Next.js, you can probably use server functions and React server components, and you could probably get away with almost not even needing React Query anymore. But I probably would recommend for most people at this point, I would just recommend React Query. And honestly, React and Next.js and all that shit is just an absolute, it's just a mess in my personal opinion at this point. I mean, in React Next, I hate it and try to keep state on my server. Well, you can't really you can, but you kind of can't keep some state on the server. You know what I mean? The problem is there's so many levels of state in Next.js. Like if you're in Next.js, you're worried about like, okay, what is the server state? Like what is the actual state of the data that's in my database, right? What is the cache state? And there's multiple layers of cache state. And then what is my client state? And then I might have things cached in like the session state. And then I might even have things in like local state or something like that. And so when you're dealing with like so many levels of indirection, you might, if you pull it off, you might end up with, a site that does things way more efficiently. For instance, if you make calls at the server side and you're caching things, this is the cache state, this is the server cache state. And if you're caching things at the server layer, then like you could be caching that for like all of your users. So for instance, like, I don't know, say you have 300 users and instead of 300 calls to the database, if it makes sense to just cache all of that and give it all to them, like you're just hitting the cache and then they all just hit the cache and then boom, So that's kind of nice, I guess, but it does add a layer of complexity and you do need to be able to invalidate that cache, which you have to make sure you're doing that correctly. And then client state is like a whole nother thing. Client state, when you're re-rendering things or when you change routes and you go to a different page and then you go back to the other page, like for instance, if we're looking at, I don't know if I still have the site running. Yeah, I don't have the site running. But like, that kind of thing. There's just a lot of state to be aware of. It's really hard to manage all of it. Zustand or the context API, I highly recommend Zustand over the context API. Highly, highly recommend Zustand over the context API. Zustand is so fucking small too. Let me go to Twitter really quick. I'll show you what I mean. I'll tell you why I really like Zustand, especially lately. Zustand is one of the few things, in my opinion, that like I have to open up Twitter on my other machine because Twitter absolutely really screwed me over a minute ago in my last stream. Like I opened it up and it immediately gave me some, I was like, what the hell? Anyway, so let's pull this over here. If we go and take a look, I don't know if the tweet was from him. I think it was. With how small the code base is for Zustand. Yeah. Want to read the entire code of Zustand v5 alpha? Here you go. This is it. I mean, if you want Zustand, pretty much, you can just copy this and paste it into your app. And you can basically just have Zustand. So this is why I really like Zustand, because I can go through and I can grok all of Zustand. I haven't done it, but I know that I can go here and I can understand fully, pretty much, what Zustand is doing. And if I ever wanted to eject from Zustand, it's basically just as easy as me, like, literally just taking their code base. So that's why I like it. I understand what you say, and it depends. Recently, I made a bad decision to keep theme state on the server. Had to change it to the client. Yeah, I keep theme state when I'm in Next.js. The problem is, well, I don't know. They have like that is a difficult thing to think about, honestly. Because I know that you'll get a hydration error because certain things won't match on the server and the client at the same time. Hola, ni and English, pero okay. I understand hi. Salutations. Indian. I think this means English, maybe? The rest of it, I have no idea. Maybe this is what or something? I don't know. What I was trying to achieve was rendering the theme on the server. Gotcha. Yeah, I would just use next themes, and then I would just ignore the hydration warning. Hi, Chris. I don't speak English, but I like what you're doing. Oh, fair enough. Gotcha. I got some of those. We got notifications here. All right, yeah. I'm trying to post more on Twitter. Oh yeah, I know. I was able to get a few of those. I don't know how you get, I don't think I could keep two languages in my head, to be honest. Seems complicated. All right, so now, what was I doing? Oh yeah, so I have V-test working. Oh yeah, I was gonna check and see if I installed those things, will debugging just work? Let's find out. So we'll do, we'll wait for everything to load. We'll do space TD. No. The selected configuration references adapter PWA node, but that is not defined. Maybe let's go take a look at what is available to us. Do I even have DAP? I do. I do have it set up. I might have to do something else. I don't really know. Let's go take a look at Neotest and find out maybe. Something about the protocol for Noster. Maybe a singular, the application utilities protocol Noster. I don't know. I got application, protocol, obviously Noster, and maybe something like your application uses Noster. Your application uses the Noster protocol. Your application uses the Noster protocol. That's what I think it is. That's why I gave up this message. This fucking message keeps showing up. Well, maybe we'll find out what it is. So let's go take a look. So Neo test. All right, so we pull that in, pull this junk in, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we have adapters, and then we have some sort of DAP situation here. for this one at least. Then we have all this stuff. Then we have strategy DAP. We can run it for strategy DAP. Interesting that this DAP says, okay, these are settings for DAP, it seems. A little confusing. Consumers, watch tests, output window, output panel, output summary, diagnostic messages, static signs, strategies. Okay, we've integrated in DAP. Uses NVim DAP to debug tests. Adapter must support providing an NVim DAP configuration. So the adapter must support an NVim DAP configuration. Okay, so this is just how to write it. So then, okay, so let's go take a look at our adapter then. So if we look at our adapter was Vite test. How to install this stuff here. Packer, usage, contributing. Okay, not much. Not much going on here. So maybe we'll look through it and we'll go for DAP. All right, looks like there's some shit here, which is interesting. We have an adapter. We have adapter, 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 blah, 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 blah. So it looks like here there's something about DAP. So let's go a little bit deeper there then. Okay, so, oh, look at this. We're looking for a PWA node, debug Vite test, Vite test tests, and we're looking for PWA node. So what the hell is PWA node? PWA node. Okay, it's from VS Code, it seems, because the debug adapter stuff is from VS Code. It means progressive web apps. Interesting. Let's look at what, for instance, something like, and you know, well, let's look at a couple things. Let's look at Neovim DAP first of all. Take a look at DAP UI. Yeah, I might take a look at that. I've used DAP UI before. DAP adapter, blah, blah, blah. Available debug adapters. These are the debug adapters. There's a debug adapter for JavaScript debugger, but we already have that installed. So I don't think we're necessarily worried about that. They have a wiki. JavaScript, Chrome, Scala, Unity, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP, Neovim, Lua, Mockdebug, Lua, Kotlin, JavaScript Node. Okay, so the VS Code JS debug. And it looks like it's this. So you have to add this adapter definition. This is a language-specific extension, NVim DAP VS Code JS, which provides the adapter definition and configuration. See the documentation and repo for installation. Okay. It's been a while since this has been updated. It's written in Lua and Vim script. All right. So you can install it with some other junk. Gotcha. Setup. Require this thing and then pass it this stuff. And then require that and then say language. Gotcha. I'm wondering if we could just pass in this. And that. Like, what if we just added these? Make sure to update this to point to your installation. Gotcha. Okay, let's do this. Are you trying to debug the real way instead of console log? Yeah, I figure I might as well learn. You know, the color scheme thing looked like it wasn't really that big of a deal, so maybe we'll just do it this way. It doesn't even look like I'm starting DAP up. Yeah, this is like everything DAP related. I have DAP UI, we got DAP Python, we got some other things, but it doesn't look like I'm even starting DAP. So let's maybe do that. So we're going to require this. And then we need to point it to the right thing. So then we'll do add a configuration here. Okay, so now we've added the PWA node adapter, and then we also have the configuration here. But the problem is that we have one thing that we need to update, which is make sure to update this path to point to your installation. So let's maybe try that. Now we can probably use a path that's built into Neovim. So we'll probably do .local share, and then we'll go into nvim, and then we'll go into lazy, and then we'll go into, maybe not lazy actually, we would go into Mason, and then we would go into bin maybe? Well, there's debug server.js. We kind of need to find that. Like probably I don't know if they have like a binary. So like we have this, that might be symlinked to that. So let's actually find out. Whoops, ls-l. Okay. Let's see. So JS debug adapter is just that. That might be enough, but where is it? Probably it's in local Mason packages. Okay, so we'll jump back to packages, and then we'll jump into the JS debug adapter, and it looks like we have a binary or an executable here, but let's go into JS debug and see what's available. Source. And what are they looking for? DAP debug server. All right, we could probably just point it directly to that. So if we pwd here and we just like take the absolute path, and we can clean that up later. And go like that. Then we'll save this, and then we'll reopen this, and then we'll try and debug. All right. What do you use for your output logo ls? Oh, I have no idea what I'm even using. I think it's exa or EZA or something like this. Space TD, debugger attached. All right, that's cool. So now we have debugging, which is neat. So we have some output in debugging. So kind of cool, but I think we could do better, right? I think we could do something like, I think we could put breakpoints. So let's do something like console. Let's just do whatever, it doesn't matter, .log hello world, right? And then we could probably even watch things as well if we add the DAP UI. So let's do space D, right? And then we'll put a, let's see, that D disconnects. So we probably want to toggle a breakpoint. So we'll do T. Oh, okay, here we go. That B stands for that. I need to configure this a little bit better. So now we'll do space D, or whoops, space TD. And look at that, it stopped there. So now we're on that line. And then we could probably, what's it say? Okay, ng was created, right? So we're stuck on this line. Number problem.test.ts should add the two numbers together. And then we'll just continue. We'll do space DC to continue and finish out the test. Theme threw you off? Yeah. Now it's not LSD, it's EZA or something like that. All right, so we can debug JavaScript tests now in Neovim, but let's take it that next level further. And let's get the DAP UI going. So we got something pretty instead of this nonsense. Also, I want to be able to press Q in here. I don't know, like, what even is this fucking thing? If I do echo and FT, nothing. If I do B or something, what is it? Is it B buffer name? I don't know. I don't know what this buffer name is. Anyway, let's do the next thing. Let's put a cool DAP UI situation around that so that whenever we debug inside of VTest, we have something neat like that. And then we'll update the path so we don't have to use this every single time, which I think would be better. So DAP UI. We need to set up DAP UI. And then DAP UI. I asked before, but why don't you use console.debug? Because we want to have like the actual debugger. We want to have like all the cool things that the cool kids have. So we're going to try and do that. Let's see here. What the hell is this? It's highly recommended to use NeoDev to enable type checking for MVim DAP UI to get the checking documentation and autocompletion for all its API functions. Interesting. Okay. So maybe we'll add this, just for the hell of it, to our config. So we'll go to LSP config, and then we're looking for like NeoDev, which I think I just inlined here. Yeah. So let's do this so that we have the library stuff set up. And we're going to pass that library through there, and that should help. Now, variable scopes, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about this shit. I just want to get it started. So like, what does that look like? What does it look like to start it up? And then DAP. Yep, we already have that. We already have all this. Variable scopes, blah, blah, blah. Stacks. I don't care. How the hell do I freaking... Here we go. Oh, okay. Nice. So we just want to set it up. I think that's about as deep as we really need to go. So we'll go back to the DAP thing. We'll just set this up before anything else. And now we'll jump back over to our test file, which is here. We'll make sure it's nice and big because we're probably going to get the whole UI pop up now. And we'll do this, that. Let's put a breakpoint. So we'll do space DT, space DT. We've got a couple breakpoints here now. And we'll make them prettier too later on. And now we'll do space TD. It opened up for a second and then it went away, I think. Yeah, it opened up for a second and then it went away. Why did it do that? Why didn't it stay open? Here we go. We need this shit. Okay. So now we'll come down here and we'll pop that in there. That should handle all the nonsense. And now we're just gonna click in here. We're gonna quit. Restart this. Source this. And now we're gonna do space debug toggle, space debug toggle, and space test debug. There we go. All right, so now we got this thing. Could not read source map. I'm not in love with whatever the hell this is, but it looks like there's some problem here. I don't know what it is, but that's okay. So now we have locals, this undefined, blah, blah, blah. So maybe we'll set some variables just to test things. And then this thing is what? Saying, deprecation warning, the puny code module is deprecated. Please use userland alternative instead. No trace deprecation to show where the warning was created. Whatever, we don't really care about that right now, I don't think. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll just press, we'll step in, or no, we probably shouldn't have stepped in, but we can step in, and it took us into add two numbers. So we went from here into add two numbers. We'll step in again. Probably should have stepped in again. Typo for ensure executable is up to date if you ensure that's correct. Okay. Maybe we just want to step over. All right, we'll do space DC and just continue. And then let's how can we close all of this? I'm gonna need a way to close everything. So I'm gonna need to do space D, and let's see. There's step out, toggle UI. Okay, toggle UI. We'll do that, okay. And let's try this again. All right, space DT, And you can tell the debugging just doesn't really get a lot of love in Neovim. Space TD. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll just step over. Okay, step over. Just step through all this code. And I guess we can just jump through everything here. And we can really see what it's doing, function by function. Don't ask me why I did that. So then we go from update task, and then we're in here, then we await this. All this nonsense. This is just debugging the actual like testing code. Anyway, we'll run that, and then I guess it just left me here for some reason, but it did get through it. So it's possible. There's bugs. I don't necessarily recommend it. Doesn't Chrome and Firefox have debugger for web stuff? I thought there is with some play and pause stuff like DAP UI. I think there is, but I don't really know how to use the Chrome or Firefox debugger that well. Except for server stuff, and since you're using Next, actually wouldn't serve your needs. Right, I mean, and try debugging shit that's on the server. Right, that's like I mean, you'd have to do it locally. You couldn't really do it while it's truly deployed out there, so. I don't know. I mean, we can kind of do debugging, we can kind of do testing. I don't know. It's not really something that I find myself needing. Testing is more useful to me than debugging. Whoops. Like if I can just run this test really quick and it can just tell me like, hey, that worked. I like that. But like we can use the debugger, it seems. I don't know. I guess I'm glad I kind of went through and set it up, but it's really not that appealing to me, to be quite honest. Now, if we were to fix this, there is a thing where I would say like something like local home is equal to that. And so then we would do maybe we would do something like home. And then we can get rid of all of this. And then we would do like home dot dot. I don't know if there's any real reason to make it all uppercase. But yeah. And now that'll be useful anywhere. Whenever I install this with Mason, I can just get debugging working. I don't add a cursive font. This is just, well, for this I'm using Mono Lisa, and then if you go into config kitty, I'm enabling a stylistic set. So these are all the style, like I kind of just went crazy with it, but like these are all the different stylistic sets. And for instance, this one would be SS02. So once I enabled SS02, and really this only really applies to italic font, like font types, like you know how you like a font and like sub fonts inside that font, like you have like the regular font or black italic or whatever. The SS02 only really applies to the italic types here. But yeah, once I applied that, I mean, that was it. Then all comments are like that, or anything that's italic in the terminal turns cursive. I guess it's only possible in Kitty. I'm not able to add SS01 and SS02 ligatures in iTerm 2. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do that in iTerm 2. One thing I do like about Kitty though on Mac OS And this was the thing that was kind of stopping me from using it on macOS, was this line here, macOS title bar color background. And so I really liked one thing about the terminal on like iTerm on macOS was that like I could have the same like title bar color as like the as like the background of the editor. And once I found out I could do that in Kitty, I was like, all right, we're just gonna stick with Kitty. And you have font fallback in Kitty too, which is also nice. So like the symbol maps here, I just point this to a different nerd font, and all of that's just handled. Even though I changed this to be a nerd font, it's just useful to like always have this here, just in case I'm using a non-nerd font. But yeah, I guess that's debugging. I mean, it's kind of a broken process. It kind of is a little bit shitty in Neovim. I'm not like in love with it. A lot of the other things, I guess I would have to update too. I do have a debugging config, I think, in my Elvim config, so maybe some of that stuff would make it a little bit better. Like if I went to github.com, Elvim. And then if we took a look at some of the debugging stuff. I don't even know where that is. It should be in here somewhere. Maybe it would be under the language server? I don't think so. Oh, look, I was doing this. Ah, you can pass it runtime arguments as well. So that's nice. I don't know if you wanted to pass vtest some runtime arguments. I could have swore I had DAP in here though. Maybe it's under debug or something? Dial, nah. I don't see anything like that. No. You probably built it into LunarVim whenever that was the case. That's probably how it happened. I use iTerm too, and it's possible to add ligatures, but I don't remember how. Yeah, I don't know how to add ligatures there either. I do like ligatures, so. Anyway, let's go look at the. Honestly, the LunarVim code base to me has gotten like so out of hand. I don't even want to deal with it anymore. At some point, I'm gonna have to do something about it. It is still being updated, so that's nice. But just things have gotten a little out of control, I think. I'm just not sure how it all works together anymore. But if we go in here and we go to core, I do kind of know how to still get around DAP. Yeah, we have all this stuff in here. Right, this would be for the controls, elements, config, that's for the UI. Right. Yeah, so I could change like the breakpoint and all that kind of good stuff, which maybe I'll do in the future, but I don't really see it being super useful. LunarVim 2.0, but it's launch, yeah. Launch, I feel like, answers a lot of the questions that my level of using Neovim is at launch right now. Like that's what I feel like is a really good abstraction for Neovim. I don't I'm not sure that the Neovim distribution route is a good abstraction for Neovim currently. I think now my favorite way to do like an abstraction on top of Neovim is through how I do launch. But I would have to get like community feedback on that before I update anything. But yeah, I mean, I still have it out there, and I don't know. There's no problems. I don't really run into issues anymore. I mean, this is an issue, but this is because I updated Neovim recently, and they have some intense breaking changes there. We're already on the latest, so I guess that's how you quit Neovim now. Is it just seg faults? Oh, I got a message. I gotta check this 1 second. Few hours. What time is it? Let me ping him back. Just ping me when you have some time. I gotta check this too. Oh, goodness. Seems like a good, simple model to use. I don't know what you mean by single MPub, but I think you mean project developers, in which case I agree. There are 2 types of bounding issues. All right, I'm going to have to read through this later. Oh, yeah, there's lots of design things happening here. Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. All right. It's a bunch of stuff. By the way, do you know Fig? I am not sure if it exists for Linux. For Mac, it exists. Their bigger features, terminal autocomplete. I've seen it. I mean, for the most part, I'm able to get by with like just suggestions. Like something like this. You see what I'm saying? Like, see how it says like beginner TypeScript tutorial there? Like, it just knows that I CD'd into that last, and like, I know that's good enough. And then if I just press paste and like tab, and I can just get completion that way. Yeah, it's rudimentary, but it's good enough for me for the most part. It would be nice to have that type of UI working with some Neovim features. In what sense? I don't know. Is there anything else interesting I can do with Neovim? Because like the thing I was working on is broken right now. I have to keep checking their site. Yeah, their site's still broken, so like I can't really do much of the like all of the development I'm working on has to do with like Lightning Network payments for bounties. So I can't really like do anything right now. Like CMP or a file explorer, and I'm saying this because NVim UI is kind of lacking. Oh, like do something like that. I feel like anytime you break out of the terminal though, like things get a little hacky. So I don't know. It might be the answer, but it also might not be the answer. I feel like at that layer, you might as well just build an abstraction over top of Neovim and just use Neovim as an RPC and just use something like, I know someone recently built something. Actually, I think it's called like Neophyte or something like that. Yeah, Neophyte, a web GPU. GUI, Neovim GUI. So maybe it would be useful for something like this. Cargo install Neophyte. Maybe we can check this out. I don't know. Yeah, shit. Oh, look, they have font features supported in there. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I would have to configure it. Yeah, Go Neovim was interesting. It was kind of nice. I haven't really seen a good non-terminal front end for Neovim yet, though. We can try this one, see how it works. But I don't know, like, if it would be... The name of it is called Neophyte. Neophyte. Yeah. So I guess we can test it out and see how it works. It looks like there are a couple built-in functions that you can do with it, yeah. Start rendering. What the hell is that? Neophyte start render. Directory blah blah blah. End render. I guess maybe you could render the current file directory or something. I don't know. Tree tab, CMP pop-up, STAP, and all that shit. Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice if there was one. I mean, maybe this will end up being the one, but I don't know. I haven't really seen anyone really do like I've seen like Neovim was kind of cool. I never used it though. Never really like spoke to me. I guess I'll check Twitter while I wait for this. Well, Twitter's boring. What else can we do? This compiles. Tried Neovim and it's nice, but it doesn't work with some Mac key combinations like Command plus backspace. Gotcha. I didn't even know that was one. I never used Command backspace. I don't know what that does. Alt backspace? I don't know what that does either. I guess Framework's still alive. Looks kind of neat. This is really cool. Wow. A numpad. Oh, you can put like the trackpad thing in the middle or off to the side. Wow. Interesting. Guys use Neovim. Are you asking me or are you telling me? Oh, it has a modular GPU in the back too? Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably would have got a framework. If I probably got a frame, I still think that the Mac laptops are probably a lot better, but the framework laptops look pretty solid. I wonder how much a framework laptop costs. Framework laptop. All right, like if I wanted to get their 16-inch flagship, the do-it-yourself seems much better and cheaper. So let's go with that. If I want just a Ryzen that, I don't know, it's 8 core, 16 threads. Is that enough to even run a web browser anymore? What the hell's the difference between these two? All right, let's just go with the base processor. 8 gigs of RAM. Shut up. Wait, the RAM's not included in the base cost? I can't just like get like it's not zero? Like, okay, interesting. I feel like we're going to need 32 gigs of RAM going forward in life. Feels like the bare minimum these days. Might as well get 2 sticks. Oh, never mind. We can just get one. 1 second. We get 32 gigs of RAM, 2 sticks. Feels like, or 1 stick. That way we can get more in the future. Primary storage. Fuck you, dude. I mean, I feel like we need at least a terabyte. Secondary storage, maybe not necessary. Expansion bay, module. What? Might as well get a graphics card, right? Wait, what? Both? I feel like we need a graphics card. Keyboard? US ink. Well, we gotta get RGB so that it lights up and stuff. Input modules. I don't like a numpad. Oh, there's like a LED matrix. This is insanity. I don't use numpads. Bezel. Orange seems like it slaps. Power adapter. 180. I feel like I need a power adapter. Expansion cards. We suggest ordering 6 or more expansion cards. Well, let's see. I probably would mostly be using USB-C. I want at least 2 of those. Probably HDMI, gonna need 1 of those. USB-A, probably gonna need 1 of those. Ethernet, might as well. DisplayPort, I don't know if we really need that. I lost my thing. Micro SD, I don't know. Audio, probably need 1 of those. Might as well have a micro SD one. Storage expansion cards, we don't need that, but that's cool. I get a poster, that's nice. All right, so if I got all that, it would cost me, I don't know. Out of the laptops I've seen in the past, that's really not that crazy. But then you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't I just get a MacBook? So for $2,300, well, this looks dystopian. For $2,300, what a nightmare look she has on her face. Oh my God. This is horrifying. Oof. Anyway. Like if we could get a Pro, probably still with 8 gigs of freaking RAM. 14-inch Pro. I mean, dude, we could get something in pretty insane, it seems. Let's go 16-inch because that one was 16 inches. We could probably only get their base model for a similar price. This chip is going to blow that chip out of the absolute water. 18 gigs of RAM. The RAM is probably going to work a lot better. I mean, we'll have to go with less storage. And it's not customizable or anything, but let me tell you, this thing would blow that other computer out like night and day. So, I mean, but the features that computer provides are kind of interesting and cool. And I know that framework laptop, I just know that thing's going to get hot sitting in my lap, and that this one won't. Better trackpad. The speakers probably absolutely are in a different universe on this thing. Battery life is going to be way better. Screen resolution, all that kind of stuff is going to be way better. Yeah, I mean, look, the framework's for like a certain type of person. And again, I have a Lemur. That's what I'm streaming on right now. But I also have a MacBook Air. So, I don't know. But like this, oh my goodness. I don't, like, are we buying one of these things? Are you guys getting one? Or no? Like, even that smile. She looks like hello, Georgie. Let's see. Reminds me of this. Reminds me of this shit. I don't know why. I'm just waiting for her to like hit me with this. Like, all right, 1 second. Good marketing? Yeah, I don't know. GPU is going to kill battery, right? Yeah, I guess when I was doing that, I wasn't thinking about that. Linus invested in framework, not the Torvalds one. Oh, you're telling me Linus Tech Tips is different? That's not Linus Torvalds? I thought Linus Tech Tips was Linus Torvalds. Wow, my mind's blown. I thought he was the creator of Linux. Don't start with dystopias, Chris. Oh, I know. Don't get me started on the web browser. Oh, as an M2 Pro user, can't confirm speakers are S tier. Yeah. I would say that the speakers on my laptop are like at least B tier. I have a MacBook Pro M1. The speaker's top notch. The battery really lasts for a good amount of time. Yeah, I love the Airs because like they don't even have fans. No comment. I have an Asus and MSI gaming laptops are the best. I don't know about that. Is it right? Does no one else get a weird vibe from this? Whoops. If I zoom in, I don't want to like click. Oh, I clicked. Let's click on this. Yeah, she looks great. She looks real happy. This is the stupidest shit. Do you imagine? They tried to sell us this exact same shit with like FaceTime and stuff. Oh my, I just can't. Just get me the hell out of here before I just lose my mind. Stupidity. They should have used her like straight face, not the slightly open smile. I know, exactly. It's just creepy looking. We know you will then deviate from the subject of the stream. I know. Also might buy one cheaper. Later. For exactly. That's what it's really going to be used for. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's for, it's definitely just going to be used for prawn. Because everyone's pretending that they're going to use it for like, oh yeah, my grandma, and like all this kind of thing. It's like, no. No, what are you really going to use it for? 3D AI OnlyFans. Right, exactly. A solution for a non-existent problem. Right. Oh, well, it's a new era of spatial computing. That's what it really is. So enjoy your new era of spatial computing. I'm moving in the other direction. I'm going to be working on desktop applications this year. All right, now we have Neophyte. Let's see if we can open that up. Oh, you know what? It probably won't work. Oh, it worked for like a second. But then it broke. I think. Or no, it's still here. Okay. Here we go. We got something going here. So this is I don't know how to make it zoom in a little. Can't really zoom. Oh well, maybe if I do control. Nah, can't really zoom. Kind of nice though. Go to definition. Yeah, all right. Look at this thing. That's probably the coolest part. My laptop is probably loving this. All right, we're done. Okay, there's all this junk. It doesn't seem to be getting these colors correctly. What about telescope? I don't have icons, but that's probably because of the font. What does this look like? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. I need to update a couple things with it, but like, I mean, it's kind of neat, I guess. It'd be interesting if they could actually provide something useful. Only cool thing about those headsets is movies if you're alone or gaming. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is Neophyte. It's pretty good. I mean, it looks like it could use a little polish, but I mean, I don't know really what it buys me. I mean, maybe things load faster. Like if I, like maybe be better. Like if I have a large file or something like that. This is all pretty smooth. I like that. Maybe I'll use maybe I'll fix it in the future and I'll actually get it working. The problem is just some of the highlighting stuff. Well, it looks like maybe that's not that big of a deal. Maybe it's just like actually like the like a couple other things. It could be cool. I don't know. Disappointing? What's disappointing about it? Native File Explorer? Nah, I'm using Neovim tree inside of it. Doesn't seem to really do much. Like I'm just kind of like, I would like it if it did something. Like if it like for instance, if I could like open images with it, like natively, that would be nice. But yeah, I don't know if it does anything besides like just be like a nice GUI front end and do cool shit with the cursor. That just, I don't know. Which I'm sure you can turn this ping pong cursor off. But, yeah, it's kind of neat. I'm having a lot of these problems, it looks like, but that's okay, I guess. I mean, is it like a program I can run, like Neo? It doesn't have like a... Doesn't seem to have like a program associated with it. So, I don't know. Doesn't have the advantage of being a native app other than just rendering, right? Neophyte's newer. I think the Neovide guy left to go work on Zed. I wish it could have a file. Right, yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if it had its own native way to do pop-ups in an Explorer. I mean, maybe it does. I mean, I'm sure it could. So what do we got here? Pixel level positioning, cursor animation, smooth scrolling, text shaping and rasterization by Swash, providing high quality font rendering, which is nice. An emoji, yeah. It would be nice if they added like some extra features on top. And it was basically just like, I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice. Let me see, who's the guy working on it? Is he like a Neovim regular? Okay. know if he's we'll see. Sometimes people, they start a project and it doesn't stay around for a long time. So I have trouble like dedicating myself to anything anyone's like building like this, just because I just assume it'll go away at some point. So maybe in the future, if he, continues to maintain it, I might check it out some more. But kind of cool. Yeah, I think he's just finding a way to like build. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with it, to be quite honest. So, and I'm not really interested too much in creating text editors. So, like actually building a text editor from scratch. So I don't really have the interest to know. Check something here. Okay, we'll get to that. Also want to check this. Still broken. Oh well. I don't know. Anything else interesting? I'm not sure. I feel like with my 5-hour Neovim stream, I kind of like exhausted everything interesting I could be doing really in Neovim at the time. Maybe I'll make videos for some of those plugins at some point, but I don't know. I don't think there's really anything more interesting to do for me in Neovim at this point. I don't feel like there's anything like that I want that I don't already have. I need to just start working on creating other things, I guess. I would like to do it since a while, but I just don't know how to bring the NVim features to that editor. Well, I would just go look at how they did it. Go look at how, like, look at how he made the editor and all. Go see how he implemented, like the editor part and like all those other things, and just see if you could create another window with like an explorer and another window for a pop-up there. Struggling with rendering images inside of Neovim. Any leads I may follow? I don't know. Kind of depends on your terminal. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't try to render images in Neovim, to be honest. I don't see really a good reason to do so. So, I mean, I don't know. I would need like a good reason to render images in Neovim, I guess. Alright, let me close some of this stuff. We tried Neophyte. I'd say it's meh. This was updating that. There is the new Cosmic stuff. Got the Cosmic terminal. Let me do this other thing really quick. I don't know if Cosmic terminal is any better at this point. I wish it would like handle the beam thing though. Seems to be okay. But I don't think I can do stylistic sets in here and other different things. Larger text, smaller text, previous tab. Okay, we can have different tabs. View, split, horizontal. That's kind of nice. This works pretty well. How do I close it though? And what if I do new tab, smaller text, split horizontal, toggle maximized? If I'm on, okay. Show header bar. Guess I can turn that off if I want to. Okay, we could put a new tab and move between our tabs. We have the split that's always there even if we're in another tab. not close it though? I guess I could just... Actually, I don't even know. Exit. Exit. Yeah, I guess you could do that. This is pop. Yeah, this is their terminal so far. This is what they got. Kind of needs a good amount of features, but it's looking pretty good though for like something that's just starting out. Kitty, if you press Control-Shift-Enter, it opens a split. I usually just split things inside my editor. But yeah, so that's that. Then there's the File Explorer, Cosmic File Explorer. It's looking pretty good. I don't know if it has that feature that I wanted yet though. View. Yeah, they have a grid view and a list view. But I think this looks pretty good. Cosmic text editor. Oh, they got a screenshot tool. Oh, nice. Grab the current window. That's good. Take a screenshot. You include pointer, include the window border. Okay. And now oh wait, it just grabbed this. Options. Okay, grab whole screen, take screenshot. Okay. Share it. What happened? Okay, that was Cosmic Screenshot. Looks like you can't really edit it once it's done. Cosmic text editor, I think, would be the last thing. Control D to close. Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably it. Very useful. All right. And this reminds me a lot of the terminal, but it has Vim mode, which is nice. I think it looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm in love with the way they do tabs and all, but syntax highlighting? How would you know how to do syntax highlighting? I don't know if that did anything. Settings. Okay. I don't know what syntax highlighting really does in this case. I think maybe if I change the name somehow. Let's do open project. Let's open the Unix pipe example. Oh, that doesn't seem to work. But kind of cool. Yeah, I figured it would need an extension, but even still, I don't think it has a language server built in. I doubt that. If they're building language servers into that already, then I think they're going a little too far. I don't know really where to go from here. Try it, you want to say? All right, maybe we can try. I can see if I can open up a file with it. I tried to open a project. I was going to do it then, but it didn't seem to really care. Oh, whoops. New file. I can't name it. Open recent file. Open file. We'll do Unix pipe example source main.rs. Oh, here we go. Oh, all right, there we go. We got some syntax highlighting there. Looks like it's using some kind of I don't know, maybe one dark or something. No, I don't think it has any completion or anything. Oh, I can't delete lines. It won't let me just get rid of the line. It'll delete what's on the line, but it won't, like I can't do that. Interesting. I guess there are Vim things, but it looks like I can't even quit, so. Yep, still needs more time, I guess. I can't click X here if it's the last thing. Interesting. Hey, hey, Adam. Yeah, so I don't know. I figured I would stream anyway tonight just because the other stream went so poorly and I needed to update that other thing anyway. Looks like we got some DApp stuff set up. I mean, that was kind of interesting, but ultimately not super necessary for me. Take a look at some framework laptops. Testing in TypeScript. We looked at the Cosmic stuff. Oh yeah, that's going to be on every single one. I don't know. I'm kind of pissed off I can't work on my on the app I was working on. So I really just don't have much to work on right now. So imagine this UI, but with some extras like support for projects and a few other things. Yeah, I mean, it would be good. Like a simple text editor would be nice, but I mean, really all I need is just Vim, something like Telescope, something like Harpoon would be nice. Something that just like basically highlights files. Wonder if I could get by with the default Neovim color scheme. Like if that would be fine for me. Like if I open up, let's see, I got this blog app over here. Let's open that up. I don't know. You know what I don't like is how bright these lines are here. I don't know what that's using. Everything's also kind of blue and green. What the hell is that? Why is it not? That's pretty strange. Yeah, I don't know if I like that one. You think it's nice? Doom Tinker instead of Doom Scroll. Time to tinker with Arch. I don't have Arch. So this is the thing. Like, I guess technically right now I might have actually gone and done something like that, but because I can't. I guess I can work on some of the stuff. I was thinking about if you guys have ever used Ink Drop, he's like a popular kind of Vim guy, but he also made this. I was thinking about making something like this for Noster, which I think would be neat. So you could just like write something in Markdown and like publish it out. And also I lost BlogStack. The domain is gone because I don't want to pay for it anymore. But I still do have the blog app. But I feel like this is pretty neat. But what I don't like is this file explorer thing at the side. I don't like taking notes and having like files and stuff. So I think I would just do it by tag. Yeah, I don't know where that color scheme would be now. I guess maybe you could like install older versions of Neovim and kind of pull it out of there. What version of Neovim are you on? Just missing my request for help, but I'd like to bring Hacker News to a hackathon if possible, but I need your help for a few things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we can work on that, but like when it comes to the Nostr stuff, I'm pretty busy with like I would say, I mean, it would be good, but I would recommend that if you are working on like a Hacker News clone kind of thing, that you make it follow nostrings.news. Like make it behave like this app that I'm working on and have it do wrappers like this. Because then you can click on like a bounty, like you can click on the link to this bounty, and you can go to a site that has like that supports bounty nips, you know? Or you can click on like an article, which right now would be broken because BlogStack's broken. Or you could click on like a note and do that. So, I don't know. I would recommend following my way of doing things here because you're just going to be able to do more. And then we'll have two sites that are like Hacker News and they'll be compatible with each other, which would be kind of cool. It's called Vim in the new versions. All right, let's check that one out. Let's set the color scheme to Vim. Like, let's go to this one maybe. I don't know. Well, this is, I want to see it for JavaScript. That's what I'm mostly coding in lately. So let's open up the blog app. And then we'll go here. Color scheme. Vim. Oh, this? I don't know about this. This is a bit much. Some of it looks okay. I don't know why, like, when color schemes, like this are available. Whatever makes anyone want to look at that other type of color scheme? Like, I've seen some color schemes and there's a few really good ones, but there are some really, there's just some ones I really don't get. Yours is an improved version. I don't know about that. Where did you get, one second, this for some reason, the kind of event for the NoStrings project, because I can't find the definitions for the kinds. That is going to be one that I am going to formalize into a nip in the future. TS disable highlight. This looks pretty garbage. But now if I do color scheme, Vim. What if I do? It's still got the same problem. Was there another one you were talking about or what? Because this still looks pretty bad to me. Look at this blue in the back. Like, I guess it just doesn't care. It doesn't set its own background. Tokyo, Cat Puckin, and Dark Plus. I don't really like Tokyo as much anymore. I used it for a little bit, but it just... Cat Puckin's alright. I kind of like Cat Puckin. I feel like what would... if I set term GUI colors... Maybe if I did... How can you set term GUI colors to false? How can I turn it off? Okay. So if I explicitly set this to false, this one I think is decent. Maybe we should try to like emulate this one. Quick tier list here. Oh, the trending ones? I mean, Tokyo Night is probably like... It's still probably like an A tier color scheme. Cat Puckin? I think Cat Puckin's better. Might be S tier. Rose Pine's probably A tier. Groovebox... I personally hate Groovebox, but if I'm trying to be honest, I still give it maybe like, for what it is, I guess for what it is, if you want a rusty, orangey kind of theme, it probably is A tier. But it's just not my style. This one looks a lot like the other ones. I don't know. It's like, it's not bad looking. Maybe like a C plus. Solarize... it's like a... I don't know. I'm not big on this one. Yeah, maybe like a D. Kanagawa. I've seen this one. That's solid C tier. Everforest. I don't know. Maybe B tier. This one's new for Nordic. Looks like someone updated Nordic. Maybe C tier. Light themes don't count. One Dark is S tier. Like actual One Dark. I don't know if it would be this One Dark or who's One Dark or whatever, but that's definitely S tier. This looks like garbage. That's D tier. This is like C minus. Nord, original Nord is trash. It got way too much hype. Regular Nord is like C minus tier too. Whatever. That doesn't really count. And like D tier. D. Yeah, if I looked at it a little bit. Like D tier. And then what's this one? Nord. Nord is... I'm demoting Nord to D tier. Because it's too hard to tell these two colors apart. And it actually bothers me that they're so close. Or maybe I'm colorblind. I don't know. That's my... I didn't do 1 to 10, but... Nah. Kanagawa's too busy, in my opinion. Do you think they look close? I don't think they look that close. Nah, they're not close at all. Kanagawa's like purple. And it's too busy. Like there's too many colors. Dracula. Well, that's another purple one. See, I'm not big on purple, like purple undertones. Like this one has purple undertones. So does Cat Puckin. So does Tokyo Night. So does Rose Pine. I'm not really huge on the purple undertones, personally. I like I don't know, like a gray background. This kind of thing is what I like better. And then blues, maybe. Not a lot of like orangey color schemes, though. There's another one called, I forget which one it is. But I don't know, there's not a lot of them. Kanagawa has a dragon variant that's nicer. This one? Oh, that one? That's actually kind of nice. That black one, if that's what we're talking about. Okay, so there's dark wave and then there's dragon. I guess I can kind of see it there. But it still looks like a busy color scheme, like very busy. Like if I grab this, oh, I turned off the term GUI colors. Let's go back over here and copy this again. Solarized, I don't really like solarized personally. It has dragon. Let's try out dragon. Okay, so what we'll do is all of this required junk, we'll just take this and then we'll pop that in the config here, and then we'll take this here and we'll do that, and then we'll comment that out. Well, we'll just do like this. There we go. And we'll start with wave and then we'll do the other one. We do need to install it though. So we would just grab this string here and just pop it in right here. Start it up. I hate when like stupid stuff like this just is bad. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So yeah, this is what that one would look like. Everything there seems reversed, which is not good for me. But I see what they're getting at, like with the rest of like where things aren't broken. But let's try out the dragon variant. Maybe some of that stuff's fixed. Try dragon. Oh, okay, we want to do dragon. And we'll just do dragon like this too. I kind of like dragon so far. I mean, it has other problems. Let's open up a project. We'll do let's do the Unix pipe example. Yeah, I kind of like that. I could see myself using this one. The class names are a little close in color, though, again. Probably would have to rewrite it to fix that stuff over here. And I don't know why that's that color. I don't know, this is a pretty good color scheme, to be honest. I kind of like that one. Deactivate the background option so it doesn't override the theme. What do you mean? How do you balance distinguishing colors without being too busy? That's a good question. I feel like you almost can't. I feel like you have to give something up when you're doing this kind of stuff, when you're building these kinds of things. I think as long as you're consistent, that's one important thing. But like method should be the same color as functions, like in my mind, right? But like I feel like, for instance, if we do the color scheme dark plus again, which won't be available because I don't have it installed. Let's go install that. I'll actually pull in a couple. I'll pull in primer and dark plus. This background thing. Value of background option. I don't really know what the hell that means. All right, we'll install all this stuff. That seems to have done something horrible to that. So it looks like you have to do. Okay. All I did was install these. I don't know why that should mess it up so much. Maybe we can just put it in dependencies. And then maybe we can do something like, we'll just have like the main color scheme and then we'll just be like, yeah, it depends on those. Okay, that like fixes that. And then we'll see if we can get away with getting rid of the background again. Nah, it doesn't seem to. All right, anyway. So now let's open up the blog app here and then we'll do maybe like article. Okay, so this is a file with a lot of text. And it seems kind of busy. If we do color scheme, for instance, primer, dark. This is another one that I made. Still kind of busy, I don't know. I would say less so. Slightly less so. And then there's a color scheme, dark plus. It's still kind of busy, but I don't think it's as busy as like the Kanagawa one. And the reason for that is because like a lot of the colors are the same. And then also one of the colors that's the same as the other colors, some of the other colors are just shades of that color and they're all very different blues. Like all of these blues are very different. Like this dark blue, this like kind of like more vivid blue, and this blue is way different. So I don't know. I definitely feel like this color scheme is less busy, but I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I didn't want to mess with TS server. I'll probably check out the other one, except the UFO one at least, and the dressing. All right, I'll go take a look. I think creating a good color scheme, though, there's no like, I've yet to see a color scheme that I'm like really actually happy with. I like using this one because it feels extremely default, but I really hate most of the color schemes I've ever worked with. Like, okay, this one, I don't know, it just feels like, okay, we have that. And then if I do color scheme, Kanagawa Dragon. It's not bad. Like the properties are pretty consistent here with like the class names down here. One second. All right, never mind. But why does this light up? I don't like that. This is why, too, I always just make my own color schemes, because I just feel like everybody else does weird shit and it confuses the hell out of me. Like, this just feels like exactly what I would expect. Like, when I hover over things, like the highlight in the background. Everything's just handled in a good way with my color schemes. Yeah, that's another thing too. Just the fact that this feels like the default, it really stops me from overthinking when I'm writing code, because not that it like is the default, but like for me in my head it feels like the default. So that's why I guess it works. Yeah, but my color scheme doesn't do that. See? It just highlights like that. So even with that, see how it just highlights it like and matches it like that? I feel like that's, I don't know, that's better in my opinion. Should I try to use Vim? It's been a few months since I started coding, been using VS Code and JetBrains since. I don't know. I would more so focus on writing code if I were you, and try to like gain like some serious skills so you can start competing with AIs. But like yeah, because you're up against like senior engineers now who have like a little AI buddy, and so like they don't really need like a little like junior programming buddy anymore. So, yeah, and that's only going to get worse. And then, yeah, I would focus on starting to master some domain of programming. I don't really care which one it is, but just go like dive deep in, and then like if you want to turn on Vim mode in VS Code or JetBrains or whatever, I would just do that. Do you use light color schemes? No, not typically. You know, the Kanagawa one doesn't seem too bad though. Like color scheme Kanagawa. Also, anyone who has watched, like as far as light schemes, like color schemes go, this is actually kind of comfy. As crazy as that sounds. But yeah, I feel like don't mistake any of this stuff that I'm doing for being like code. This is not coding. This is just me screwing around. What? Like, I'm telling you, junior engineers need to be warned. I don't really have any interest currently in teaching any engineers anything, because I don't really see working with another engineer as something very useful to me anymore. Like, now that I have AI, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to like see the value add in like training up another engineer. If I didn't start fucking with Vim and Linux, I'd have at least 4 more projects I could put on my resume. Yeah, I'm telling you, build projects, and learn to prompt AIs, like that kind of thing would be not like, don't spend too much time learning to prompt AIs, like just like kind of get how to work with an AI, like get that feeling, right? Because like, for instance, like I would consider this prompting an AI. Like right now I'm just pressing space, right? And hopefully this stupid thing is going to come up with something. If it doesn't, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't think anything's useful here. So like even just typing US, like I know that it's going to do use effect here. And then if I come down here, it doesn't really know what to do. There it goes. It's just going to like console log something, right? But like if I start to do like const, see how it like it's starting to come up with something else. Like this is one way to interact with an AI. That's typically how I interact with like coding within like an AI pair programmer. Sometimes I'll go to ChatGPT and like ask, like usually I'll go to ChatGPT and ask questions. Like I asked it a lot of questions about like Unix domain sockets, and now I have like a pretty decent understanding of Unix domain sockets because of that. But and sometimes I'll ask it to generate like boilerplate, or I'll ask it like to fix something or look at something for me. But it's going to be hard I feel like I'm in a good place with it because I already know how to code, but it's going to be hard for like junior engineers. Or maybe it'll make them better. I don't know. Probably not though. But yeah. Definitely, it's so hard to say. Even if you had 4 more projects though, what would that really mean for you? Like if you had 4 more projects under your belt, what would those projects be? Like if I had 4 more projects under my belt, I don't know if that would really help me with anything. I think the main thing is like, what's your ultimate goal with this stuff? And if your ultimate goal is to like make money, I mean, just grind whatever FANG companies want you to grind and then just join a FANG company. But if your goal is to influence people, then you have to do something different. First, you're going to need to find a way to get street cred, which is already difficult. I mean, you can kind of get which another good way to first getting street cred is to go work at a FANG company. So there's a lot of good reasons just to go like spend, a couple years just doing whatever the hell is necessary to figure out how to go work for one of them, and then just literally go work there for 6 months. And then you can be like the tech lead guy who's like, oh yeah, I was like a tech lead at Google or whatever, and Facebook, and then like you have that street cred. And then like if you start like a YouTube channel, like already you'll probably start with like a good amount of subscribers and a good amount of like people who believe you. By the way, I have this Neovim problem that Illuminate does underline instead of shade. Not sure if I'm describing it in a clear way. Or a lie, I guess. Just a lot of wasted time. Yeah, like you could have like, instead of that, you could have like picked up any other hobby. Like all that time could have been spent like outside. That's why I won't work on ricing anymore. Just because like I would, at this stage of my life, in my advanced stage in my life, now that I'm old, I would legitimately rather spend more time outside than like hacking away, ricing a desktop. Like just no, definitely not. Like I'd rather go out to dinner. Yeah, your underline problem, that's coming from here. There you go. Hopefully that helps. Whatever color scheme you're using, you should be using some like shade of gray for the background and then none for the foreground. Nah, I'm just fixing one I made before. I literally just added one line, and I'm streaming, and like what I'm actually doing is I'm working on like doing like a startup kind of thing. So like that's where most of my energy is. But like I was gonna stream tonight, so I had everything set up to stream. I wasn't gonna go out tonight. I wasn't gonna do anything. And then I went to getalby.com and it broke. And I need this to be up so that I can make lightning payments for the application I'm working on. So like when this was down and then I had nothing to do tonight, I was just like, okay. You know, what am I going to do? So I was like, I'll just fix my color scheme because I know that's broken in Neovim, and I'll just stream it. Why not? And just see if I can, like, I don't know, like just get some work done because I don't have anything else to do tonight. And like another thing I avoid doing is playing video games. So like I don't want to like then go, oh, okay, because I didn't plan anything for tonight and I can't get my work done. Then what should I do? Should I boot up a video game? And it's like, no, definitely not. Yeah. Right now is just, I'm just beat because I can't work on what I want to work on. I could start, like I said, I kind of did want to like I've always liked this. I just never wanted to pay for it. But I like the idea of like having a little note-taking thing. But also it never really appealed to me because I had Obsidian. So I was like, I have Obsidian for if I want to do something like this. And I also just have Neovim. And I think this is kind of cool. And I learned about it when I was watching some of his like Vim video things. Like I saw a few of those and I thought they were kind of neat. So I was like, you know, maybe this thing could be cool. But like it just doesn't really answer any questions for me. But then I was like, you know, I built a few different blogging apps at this point, and I was like, you know what? What if like this thing could just, like you could take the note from here and just publish it directly to Nostr. And then also, what if I didn't have to pay for it? And then I looked into like how this thing's built, and it's just using CodeMirror. Like, so really the editor inside of it is just CodeMirror. Like this here. And with that, then you can just put like, you can just do Markdown. So I was like, I feel like I could like make something really simple that I could just like publish blogs directly to Nostr from CodeMirror, basically. And then like save things by tag onto my local file system so I could keep all my blogs. I thought that might be worth making. Yeah, you sit and ponder the orb. This is me right now. I'm pondering my orb. Too many tech enthusiasts ponder the orb all day. AI has helped me a lot, both in terms of learning new concepts and fixing unknown errors, but I avoided using AI for algorithms as much as possible. You say that, but I've actually had AI explain a couple algorithmic things to me, and it was kind of actually helpful to like talk to it about algorithms. So, I don't know. It's not totally useless for that either. Like I've asked it like the best way to like efficiently do batching, the best way to efficiently do like different like weird things that I wanted to do. And it came up with like some like algorithms for me and then like different ideas on how to do things. And then I was able to like implement that in code so that I could do like a batching algorithm for something. And that was like very helpful. But yeah, right now I guess we're just pondering the orb tonight. But yeah, I don't know. Even if I was to start like a project with CodeMirror in it, like how does CodeMirror work? What's the pricing for this, by the way? $10 a month. The problem is $10 a month, you'll be charged. I don't get to really like keep my data. I have some sort of like I have to deal with Cloud Sync. But I have to pay $10 a month to like edit my notes the way I want to. I don't know. I mean, again, I respect the hustle, but I got pinged here. 1 second. Ready if you are. All right. The thinker is an even better pondering image. 1 second. Let me take a look at that. Let's jump up here. The thinker. Yeah. Yeah, I spend a lot of time doing this and doing this. I'm kind of done doing that, though. I spend a lot less time pondering and thinking about things, though. I spend a lot more time now just kind of using the defaults for things and then just trying to move in a direction, and then, I don't know. I spent a lot of time like this in my late teens and early 20s. Do you know how to point a highlight in another highlight? Yeah, you link it. See? So you'll see that I have some links here. So you link, and then you just pass it into this highlight function. This highlight function is just shorthand for Vim API set highlight. So yeah, just link it. And then you can just link it to a different one. That's all you got to do. For me, AI is mostly autocomplete on steroids and sometimes help with matplotlib. That's fair. I mean, yeah, it is almost like how language servers kind of like changed the game for a lot of people. It feels like AI is like taking that next step. I'm not saying it's bad. It's bad at it. Since I'm a beginner, I'd rather spend more time doing it myself, trying it myself, than I would trying to ask an AI and seeing an AI does it, which has been way cleaner than mine. Yeah. I would use a conjunction, actually. It's very nice to be able to train with something like an AI because we also have human elements. And so like if you do have, I mean, if you're lucky enough to find someone who's willing to like mentor you and do things with you, then there's always that element of like you feel embarrassed to ask stupid questions and all that kind of stuff. It's only by the time you get older that you realize that you don't really mind asking stupid questions. And I don't give a shit. If I ask a stupid question, I will ask every single stupid question that I need to ask. And I don't give a damn. I will ask all the stupid questions. Mistyped on both attempts. Oh, yeah, gotcha. But it is also nice, and it's probably just going to make everybody like increasingly antisocial now that they're using the AI. Because you can just, the AI is like it's a very forgiving thing, and you can just delete the chat when you're done with it. It feels like it just goes away, right? So it's like, if you ask a stupid ass question, and it like solves it in like a one-liner, and it's like for instance, recently I was having trouble trying to remember how to use a freaking input tag in HTML. And I was like, oh, wow, I feel stupid. But, you know, if you go ask an AI how to do that, then you never have to really feel stupid. So, and I feel like that scales. That scales to like a lot of questions that you probably have. So, I don't know. Anyway, I am going to run because I have to go work on a design doc for the bounty site that I'm working on. So I hopefully can get the Noster events that I want standardized so that other people can make sites and so that I can feel comfortable working with the bounty stuff that I have. Anyway, so I'll see you guys in the next stream. If you want to support the channel, memberships on YouTube. I think you can subscribe and stuff on Twitch, but I don't know how the hell that works. And then, what else is there? Oh yeah, sponsorships on GitHub. And I appreciate all that, but if you're not going to do any of that, the least that you can do is just like it on YouTube. Just like the stream, like the videos. Just go through all my videos and just click the like button. Like go through all the backlog and just click the like button on every single one. But Anyway, I will see you guys in the next stream, hopefully when Albie's fixed, and then I'll be continuing to work on that blog or that bounty site. All right, see you then.